Counselor Accents Podcast. Two school counselors who love their jobs. Oh, and they happen to have Southern accents too. Bless their hearts.
I'm Laura Rakeforth.
And I am Kim Crumbly, and together we are Counselor Accents.
Kim, I feel like we need to speak to each other in like King James language, like greetings, young whippersnapper, because we just found out that our boss, like from our state level, listens to these things.
Felicitations. Is that a word? I texted that this morning to you. When you sent me greetings this morning as my wake up, I said felicitations, but I don't think that's really a word.
We're going to investigate.
It's
it's never stopped you. It has never stopped you before if it's not a word.
No, and you didn't even question me on it. So I thought, well, it could be a word, or she doesn't know if it is or it is not.
You've just worn me down, possibly.
Well, it's something like felicitations, not filling stations.
That's
like
this one.
No, I don't know. It's like Felice. No, I don't know. I'm going to look it up. It is a thing.
Well, we ruined it. We ruined sounding professional in front of our bosses.
Well, I had forgotten. I went down that rabbit hole and forgot that our bosses told us he listens to the podcast.
Yeah.
And we're going to have him on.
We can't wait. Yes, he is a treasure trove, not just for the state of Alabama, but he will be a treasure trove for the nation.
Absolutely. Absolutely. An advocate for all school counselors.
Yes.
You look nice.
Well, thank you. I got a little sun this week, a little sunburn, so my skin is flaking off. You can't see that, so I'm grateful for that.
We were together, and I had the big hat on with all the sunscreen and every inch of skin covered.
And as all of us were burning day by day by day, I thought, I didn't even pack sunblock. We did not even pack it. It's a no-no.
That is a very big no-no. You don't want to hear me get started down that pathway.
Yeah, neither does our audience. So let's
okay. Well, maybe they do. Maybe they do. And that's what we're going to talk about today is skincare.
Skincare, sun prevention. Yes. You have intrigued me, and I would like for you, I'm putting you on the spot because you didn't know that I was going to do this, but a few weeks ago, you asked me to remind you about a skunk story. And I would like.
Oh my gosh. I forgot about the skunk story. I was going to tell you about the skunk story. This happened on the 4th of July. I cannot believe you've pulled this out of your memory box because that was 100 years ago now in my time.
I know. A lifetime ago.
So many stories since then.
Yes. Yeah.
So no, we are set up in you know how beautiful Fairview School that campus is. So we are set up in the front lawn of that campus, and we've met a bunch of people there at the campus, and we're all sitting up there in chairs. We're in blankets, and it's just one of those beautiful nights, and it just always brings a little tear to my eye because it's just that sense of community and patriotism, and it's just beautiful. You're going to see this beautiful 4th of July show, and so we're sitting there getting ready. It's ready to start, and we see a cat meandering toward us, and as it gets closer, as you have already ruined the story, it is a skunk.
Oh my.
And it just keeps coming and coming, and it keeps coming until we are all like, everybody just has to get up and just run, except like there sits my mother. And it reminded me of Christmas Vacation, which who was it? Aunt Bethany sits there and the squirrel is in. But it was just like we finally got seated back, but that thing would not leave us alone. It did not spray us, but we could not enjoy. That's why I was going to tell you. I didn't know if that was an audience story, but I wanted to tell you about my 4th of July and the skunk. We could not relax and enjoy due to a country cat.
Country cat. That is so funny.
Due to the country cat. It kept coming back. I have never seen grown men move as fast, leaving babies and toddlers for mothers to grab up.
Wow.
because they will get out. Nobody wants to be sprayed by those things.
That is so funny. Well, it reminded me When I was the summer, my junior year to my senior year, my dog got sprayed by a skunk the night before I went to Girls State. And so, we were doing the tomato bath on the dog and everything. It doesn't matter how many tomato baths you give a dog. And I should have tomato bathed myself in my clothes, because once I got to Girls State, my whole room and my poor roommate, we all smelled like a skunk, or Las Vegas.
Sorry to our Las Vegas friends.
Sorry, but it's the truth. Whenever we were in Las Vegas last year and I'm walking the streets, I'm like, it smells like Girls State. This reminds me of Girls State.
I'm back at Girls State. Yeah. What a happy memory. And it was marijuana.
It was a skunk. Oh, yeah. And in Las Vegas, it was marijuana. But in our
in our neighborhood, it was a
skunk. And
I've had students
who
have, you just feel for them. I'm like, I do not know how, if you have not ever experienced that smell, it is permeating. The Lord knew what he was doing when he gave that defense mechanism to you, Laura, and to skunks.
Well, and it reminds me, just now, it reminded me, I didn't even think of this until just this second, whenever that girl from Finland that was coming to study your school, and that was her one thing that she wanted to do was smell a skunk. Do you remember that?
I forgot about that. And I'm like, well, let me see if I can pull one
out. Our 4th of July celebration, you can see a skunk, pet a skunk, hold one.
Whatever. I know. But anyway, we could not relax because the thing thought it was a pet, I think. And it kept coming up and we kept running.
He just wanted to be cuddled. He sees all y'all loving on your pets, not me, but y'all loving on your pets. And he thought, I just want some love.
I just want a little love here on this 4th of July.
There's a lesson in that.
I don't know what it is.
But we'll find it. Doggone it.
I didn't know you was going to ask me that. Talk about waiting a spell before you bring something up.
Well, I thought about it and thought, I wonder if that's a story. And it was. So
it was. I think you really have to surprise those things. It surprised us.
Yeah.
But I think you really have to be aggressive or surprise those things for them to spray you.
Oh, okay. Well, that's good to know.
I don't know that for a fact, but I'm pretty sure that
this is not a National Geographic fact. It is a Kim fact, which is same as really.
Same as all those years I worked for National Geographic.
Well, and you tell things like it's the gospel truth and it cracks me up and I love it. I'm totally here for it.
Oh,
well, that's not what we're talking about today.
It is not what we're talking about. So do not change the channel. Do people still change channels?
Good question.
Grab that remote and change that channel.
I don't know. We just never get to watch TV here at my house. So I am not the expert on that.
Okay.
But to segue into what we're actually talking about today, it is one of our most requested topics that just kind of, we were doing it and we didn't realize that so many other people wanted to know about it. So when we spoke at ASCA last year, we spoke about this, and then you mentioned it this year at ASCA just in passing, and you had a line out the door asking you, that was not even the topic that we were speaking about that day.
Right.
The line was out the door wanting to know about minute meetings.
And I think that is because it is a powerful tool and it's a game-changing tool. And I think people want to know that the best use of that, what is how to do it, what is the best use of that. And we're getting ready. I know not everybody is, but here in Alabama and some other states, we get out a little earlier and we go back a little earlier. So we're getting ready to go back. So we've actually had conversations about getting this going again. And so as you're thinking about, or maybe you're not thinking about it, but you'll be right where we are in a couple of weeks out from school starting. And let me just say, before I go further with what I'm going to say, if I can squirrel off, I don't know if all educators do this, but my sister and I do this. It's called the week before zombie. Our minds start racing about a week before school starts back. And it happens at night. And it is your mind is racing because school is starting back. And you're thinking about, you've been in that relaxed mode and now your mind's racing. How are we going to do this year? What am I going to do this year? All the education, your room, everything is coming through your brain. So I've started that. It started last night. And I told my husband this morning, I said, well, the school zombie has started back. There's no sleep happening here.
What do you do for zombies? Is that a wooden stake, or what is zombies? How do you get rid of zombies?
I don't know if zombies even the word, other than I don't sleep. I don't think zombies sleep, but I don't know any zombies. Do you experience the no sleep before school starts? Like,
oh goodness, yes, but I feel like it's been going on all summer.
I know, and it has started. It has started for me, and it is wearing. But anyway, so in this thinking and processing, I have told you I'm going to hit minute meetings like right out of the gate this year. And there's some pros to that, and there's some cons to that. And so I'll start with, if I may have the talking stick.
Before I relinquish the talking stick,
I
want us to sing a song. No, I'm just kidding. I want us to back up and start at the beginning with what is a minute meeting, and just let's do a quick definition, and then then you can have it back.
Okay. Yes, so go ahead.
What is a minute meeting? If you have no idea what we're even talking about, this is where Kim and I in the past have somehow asked every student in our school questions that we kind of know what we're looking for through these questions. And we've done this digitally. We've done this in person, face-to-face. But we ask every student, we have a quick conversation with our students just to kind of peel the onion back and ask a few questions. So go ahead. I think having that definition in your mind will help as we go through some of these other things and explain more in detail what we're doing.
And Laura, let me just say, the benefits to this is more than just the information that you're getting. You say we're asking questions for the information that we're looking for, but we're also the benefit of students getting that one-on-one time that they have with us, that time that is their time. And we're focused on them because we see the same, usually you're going to see the same 5% over and over and over again. And you never really may have to think that a school year goes by and you may needed to have had a conversation with the student. And so this is some peace of mind that comes with, I have introduced myself to every student, not just in that whole group, meet the counselor, but one-on-one, and I've given them, which is my theme for this year, student voice. Mm-hmm. So overall, our school's theme is respect this year, and I think that by me using student voice, I am showing them respect. I'm listening to them. So the first thing, I'll go dig right into the logistics, if I may. So that, and this is where the interest of most people were interested at the ASCA conference, was in using your database. So when you think about meeting with every student, even getting their names in and getting their homerooms in, all of that information, you have all of that in the database. So use your Excel or your Google Sheets, and I've used both. So what you need to do is you need to go into Google Sheets, create your homerooms, and just transport their student names over into their homeroom. If you don't know how to do this, an IT can easily help you. It's not hard whatsoever. It can be done 10 minutes. You've got everybody in. It's not hard. The thing about the database is any information that you want to go ahead and bring over with you. Like for me, I'll put in date of birth. For me, when I'm having RTI meetings or data meetings or MTSS meetings, and a student is, 18 years old in the 11th grade courses, then that lets me know that they've been held back or there was an issue there. So that's important. Also, I can put whether they are receiving special ed services or special services. So you can choose any of that logistical information or leave it off. So decide what you want to bring over. that you think that you may use. And then if I know, I add things like I make a column. Now, remember, your columns are made for birth dates. Your columns are made if you've made a column for, special classes or services or whatever, and that comes over from your database. Then I might add a column for DHR and those students who I know are being served through human resources or whatever. I can go ahead and mark those students. Other things that
might be good.
What?
It might be good to add a McKinney-Vento column for your students that are classified as homeless.
Right. Mm-hmm. So, this is where that information that you think may be helpful to you as you go through the school year. So, then after I have added the stuff from my database, things I want to know, then I'm going to go ahead there and add questions. And remember, these questions are vague. They're not specific. So you're not invading privacy. You're just having a conversation with the kids, a get to know you conversation. But in the way that we ask, sometimes we're allowing kids a voice to say, hey, yes, I'm having trouble with this teacher. Or I'm having trouble. That may not be that. I'm not asking, are you having trouble with the teacher? But I ask, is there anything that might keep you from learning? And that might be a question that I have. Or do you feel safe? Might be a question that I have. Do you ever run out of food at your home? Might be a question. Laura and I say every question that we ask is very specific, and her questions may be different than my questions. My questions are specific to the information that I think will open my students up. So we try to ask open-ended questions so that they can expound if they want to or talk to us. So the questions, we don't get bogged down in specific questions because, you can pull ideas from each other or you can think this is something. And as you go, you will become an old hat or pro at this, and you ask the questions that work for you. So you also know how many students you have, and we have had school counselors, unfortunately, who are serving huge groups of students. So you may not be able to ask as many questions, but you are having that opportunity. Maybe ask the most important questions. And to me, one of those is there anything that would keep you from learning? Especially if they're in grades like 3 on up through seniors, because that really opens the door, and they know what you're talking about. Mom has cancer, we lost our house to a house fire, or my parents going through divorce. They know that, and you're going to get that information from them there.
I have not heard that question, but I wrote it down because I can see simplifying the questions that I ask through that one question.
Yeah.
So I think that's a great question. And then the other one that you said that I wrote down was, do you ever run out of food at your house? Because I had stopped asking the hungry question that we were asking.
Yeah.
Because if you ask my girls, they would say, yes, I go to bed hungry, because every night they're like, I need a midnight snack. And I'm like, you don't go to bed. And they're like, but I'm hungry. So if they were asked that question, they would say, yes, I go to bed hungry every night.
Yeah. Then that's why you get all those blessings.
Yes.
So you want to be specific, and of course, think about your grade level that you're working with, right?
And it's trial and error too. And you said that, as you go through it, you'll figure out what works for you. And it probably didn't take me going through one class of students before I realized that the way I was asking the question, who do you live with, needed to be changed to who all lives in your house, because I was asking who do you live with, and they were answering surface level, who they were living with that day.
Right.
And it, through trial and error, I realized asking who all lives in your house is going to tell me, are your aunts and uncles and cousins and neighbors all living in the same house? So, but I can see really changing the way I ask these questions this year, and incorporating that.
Yes, absolutely.
Keep you from learning.
So that was just the point there we're not doing a deep dive in minute meetings, but we do want to say, take advantage of that database. Now, the con of that is I have not found a way to continually add students as they come in.
Like new students.
New students. So I'm not necessarily concerned about taking students off as I am adding those new ones that come in. So that's where you want to have a relationship with the registrar, the secretary, whoever sees the new kids that are coming in. They should be coming through your view anyway, so you can introduce yourself, but you want to make sure that you stop and add that to the homeroom. I call this a control F away.
Yeah.
It is a control F, isn't it?
Yeah.
So a control F, type of student's name in. If I get a call from Department of Human Resources and they say, look, what can you tell me about this kid? We're concerned. Control F, type the student's name in, and I have the information that I'm looking for. Or if the student, if things come up during the year, and I can add that to that student's name. So Laura and I do highlight the students, and that leads us into tiers. We look at this information, and those students that, for the most part, are tier 1, right? I mean, for the most part, out of, you have 600 students, for the most part, you don't have to do with a lot with all 600, other than maybe your whole group lessons. But Laura, you begin to see pretty quick those tier 2s, do you not?
You do, yes. And so this answers the question. Sometimes people have asked, what do you do with your minute meeting information? Well, Kim mentioned DHR. That is our Child Protective Service organization here in Alabama. But, frequently we get calls saying, hey, what do you know about this student? Like you said. And so minute meetings are a way to say, well, here, I've had this conversation with them. And that just kind of gives you some credibility when you can say, I have talked to them. I've already had a conversation with this student, and here's what I can tell you. And either you had red flags or you didn't have red flags. And just because you may notice something doesn't mean that you automatically route them to tier 3 intervention, just because you may notice a few things. But but it is good to, indicate, maybe highlight or something. This is just for your eyes. But yes, like you're saying, you do start to notice, okay, this student may be good for a tier 2 intervention.
Which could be a small group of, coping skills group, or you can see, that they're dealing with bullying, and you might have a small group for that. So a lot of this is, and then there are those students who just feel like periodically I need to do a check-in individually, but this is where a driving force for your small groups can come from, because you did not know that this student had anxiety. You did not know whatever, that they have trouble building friendships. And so that's where you start to piece that tier 2 group, and you say, you know what, I think this child would be good for this small group. And that's where we build a lot of our tier 2 small groups from. And then again, we say it's like triage. We have those students who definitely are tier 3, and we know that we're not therapists. So what do we do with those tier 3 students?
Well, it depends on what resources you have available there at your school. If you have school-based mental health and you feel like this student would be a good fit for school-based mental health, then you can refer. You can always refer, and school-based mental health will decide if they're a good fit. You can get your community resources involved. This is another area where this is not what we're talking about, but your advisory council can come into play. If you've made those community connections and you have those community resources through your advisory council, you may start to mentally put students with the resources that you know of.
So our job is to advocate for students. So when we see these tier 3s, that doesn't mean that we do everything. This really points us to those students too, who may have fell under the wire, but we may not, they may have gone unnoticed, but they really do need maybe outside services. for whatever reason. I mean, I've had students who've told me they were addicted to vaping, and that's something I'm not qualified to help them with. So we hook them up with community resources. So you're going to have students who you're not going to fix everything, but you have the information enough that a lot of times you can say, yeah, I think this is where we can do some advocating for this student and get someone else.
You know how sometimes you get overcome with love for me just out of the blue?
I do.
Well, it just happened for me with you.
Really?
It really did. I was just overcome with, you are the smartest person I think I know. And what you were saying, it was just genius. And it's like, all of a sudden I couldn't breathe. I was just.
Are you crying?
A little bit.
Okay.
Yes.
Good. Are you mocking me because I say sometimes overcome with love for you?
No, I'm not.
You need to be overcome with love for me?
I've never felt like I needed to be overcome with love.
Okay.
I'm 100% authentic. Okay.
Well, thank you for acknowledging it, because I do not hide my feelings.
No, you don't.
You know that, and it's been embarrassing at times for everybody involved. But
you know that I don't have
cannot
mine.
hold my feelings back.
If I'm feeling it, it's all over my face, whether I like it or not.
Oh, but it's usually in a negative way, and I'm going to be honest.
Yeah, I know. I acknowledge that.
Okay.
Okay.
How's that love feeling for me going now? Still there?
It's still there. Because
good.
Never before have your negative comments toward me or your truthful comments to me stopped my love for you. Never.
That's the greatest. That's the greatest love letter ever written to me right there. There is nothing that you can do. We'll not be speaking to each other in 10 minutes, but okay for right now.
We'll come back around though. We always do.
Come back around. We always do. So let's talk now, Laura, about I think a third takeaway, which is what we wanted to accomplish today in this podcast, is tell me how you would use this for, say, your very youngest students. It's easy for me to see how to use it for all the way up through high school, but I do have trouble when I look at the little bitties.
Yes. Well, for the little bitties, you're going to want to simplify. You're going to want to pull out just the very, like, what questions are going to give you the most information the fastest. So I would take it down. If you do 5 questions for your upper grades, I would take it down to 2 or 3 for your younger ones. And you are probably even going to want them to do like a thumbs up, thumbs down type thing. And even, thinking about some of the apps and stuff that we've come across where you can get them to circle something and then you scan it with your phone and it compiles the data for you. That may come in useful. And we can link to those things. You can check them out and see if they would work for you for this purpose. But even making a mark on, if you've got your spreadsheet, your database pulled up while you're talking to them and they give you a thumbs up, thumbs down, you just make a mark in that column. Keep it simple, stupid. And I'm sorry that I just called everybody stupid.
That's what you say to me. And I thought you were talking
directed at you.
Okay. Keep it simple, stupid.
Keep it simple. So for your younger ones, yeah.
And, we did have, and we should know her name, and it's slipping because she speaks and I can't, she was at our session and she gave a great idea of actually making a video of her asking the questions, and she sent it to the kindergarten teachers, and everybody can see it at one time and maybe go over what's going to happen. So that cuts out some of the confusion. But the thing is with kindergarten, you don't have to really, now some of them are very shy, but for a lot of them, they want to tell you. It may not be about their puppy at home or something that has nothing related, but you get to know them. Well, and so that's fun.
You may want to set those expectations before you talk to them and just say, and you do it based on what you need and your students best. But I'm just saying, if you set the expectation and say, okay, I'm going to talk to you for the next 1 minute. I'm setting my timer and I want you to zip your lip and make them, show that you're zipping your lip and say, you're only going to use your thumb to show me thumbs up or thumbs down. And then you ask them not open-ended questions, but yes or no questions, maybe. I don't know if that's just a thought.
Yeah. Yeah.
Set those expectations.
Yeah. And maybe have one where you're allowing them to say whatever they want to say to
That's
you.
a good one.
Set a timer for that too, because you could be there till lunch and then, and did you know what? And
which is so entertaining.
It is so entertaining.
Yeah.
It is so funny. They are so stinking cute. Now I'm ready to go back to school. So I hope that this was.
Well, before you close this out,
I'm closing out in prayer as we speak.
I know that we touched on this a little bit, but I do want to just go back real fast and talk about why we do this. Kim and I, a couple of years ago, we had a conversation, and it is like all of a sudden we were paralyzed with fear because we're seeing, like, and you mentioned this, you're seeing the same frequent flyers, those same students that are coming to your door over and over and over again. And we started thinking, we're spending so much time with those students. Who are we missing? Who is not coming to us? What stories do we not know about? What students need help and we're not getting to them because we're spending so much time with these frequent flyers? So the why behind this is, first of all, to make a connection. And you said that, I'm just putting a bow on it, but to have that initial conversation with students so that, if you break the ice, then they're going to feel more comfortable coming to you. So that is number one, you're having an initial conversation. Secondly, you are trying to uncover, or you're if there is a story to be told, you're giving them a space to tell it. And then you're figuring out how to route those students based on their needs. So it's an answer to your MTSS, PST, RTI, whatever you do at your school, PBIS, PB&J, whatever. But
I think everybody was doing PB&J last year. We were just.
I think you're right. Yeah. So anyway, that is the why, because we have had that question too, like, why am I doing this? Because it can feel like more work, but it is a lot of work to get the plane off the ground. But once it's off the ground, it's coasting in the sky. And so if you'll do the hard work on the front end, it is going to make your year go much more smoothly when you feel like you have your finger on the pulse of what's going on with your students. And that is what minute meetings are.
Well said, my friend.
Okay. So you're going to close this out in prayer now?
Yes.
Okay. Well, so it was a silent prayer. Okay.
I was praying for you.
Good. I need all the prayers I can get.
Trying to make you mad. Praying for you.
Before we leave, I do want to mention that we have a freestanding course that this is a great time to join that course because we cover a lot of things that will help you in your, as you get started here back to school or thinking about going back to school. It's video modules, so you can stick your earbuds in while you're out at the pool and listen to what we have to say about getting your year started. So this is a great time to join that course. But I can put a link in our show notes to it. You can also find us on Instagram. You can find us on Facebook. And Kim, you can also now find us on TikTok, which is scary to me.
It's scary to everybody that we have one. That we have a TikTok.
Yes, you can find us there. And you can also watch these on YouTube, although I would recommend not.
Looking at you, I would say, don't look. Just listen.
Just listen. Okay. Well, I hope everyone has a great week.